Hi everyone, this is Holly Adamus, nurse practitioner here at LaserAway, and today we're going to be doing an instant glow laser facial. Here's my lovely patient Julisa. She has had a couple of these facials before, and with this treatment we do not need to numb. It is so tolerable. It actually feels kind of nice. It feels nice and warm. So we just jump straight into it, no numbing needed. And we're gonna lay Julisa down and get started. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we've laid her down. I'm going to grab some alcohol swabs and we're going to start wiping her face. And this is going to ensure that there is no residue from any makeup, sunscreen, moisturizer, as this facial tends to really heat up the top layer of the skin. So we do want to make sure it is super clean. Okay. Can you breathe with this alcohol?
I love it.
You love it? Okay. Very good. And once we've cleaned our surface, we just section off the face into our little zones. And this ensures that we evenly treat the areas with a specific number of passes, which basically means we go over certain sections a certain number of times. Great. So now we've sectioned off her face. We're going to tape her eyebrows with some foam tape. And this is just to ensure that if for any reason she moves or the laser beam moves in an area it's not supposed to be, it does not singe off her eyebrows. Now the good news is if there's ever any hair that gets in the way of this laser beam, it will not permanently remove the hair at all. It'll basically just singe off the top of the hair shaft. It's kind of like shaving it or something. It'll grow back in a couple days, but we don't want her to go outside without eyebrows, just in case. So we're just gonna protect her eyebrows. There we go. And now we're going to cover her eyes, shield them for the laser. I'm gonna place this on top of your eyes and then I'm gonna have you lift your head, okay? Perfect. I'm just gonna tighten this behind your head real quick. Okay, good. How does that feel?
Good.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
Nice and secure. So her face is clean, her face is sectioned off, her eyes are protected, eyebrows are protected, and we're ready to start. Basically, this facial uses our ND YAG laser, and it really just heats up the surface of the skin. And I'll be going over each section a certain number of times. You're gonna be hearing a lot of beeping, and then I'll kind of talk about what this facial does as I'm treating her. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and turn your head to the side. Perfect. I'm just gonna tuck any hair away, just so it doesn't get in the way. These little peach fuzz hairs on your face, they might singe a little bit, but like I said, nothing permanent. Okay. So throughout the treatment, as I'm going over a zone, I will be looking back and forth over to the laser. This helps me check my treatment shot count, which is basically how many times I've fired against an area. We're gonna start with this zone right here. Actually, yeah, let's go right here. And after I section off zones, if I ever notice that some zones are not as big as the others, I do a little bit of overlap between the two, just so we don't heat up a smaller area for too much time. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. How does this feel?
Feels nice and warm.
Nice and warm is what she said. So what this treatment does is basically this laser is just heating up the top layer of her skin. It really helps shrink pore size and it just gives your face this overall shiny, smooth glow. We do call it the Instant Glow Laser Facial because it's something that a lot of people do before a special event because it really does give you this instant glow. Okay, so I'm done with one zone right here. I'm gonna move on to my next section. How would you describe this, Julisa?
I would say it's kind of like warm water kind of coming down your face, I
So warm water coming down your face. Yeah, I agree with that. I would say that's what I think it is too. So the most important component of this treatment is the heating of the face, which helps really shrink those pores, make her skin look nice and glowy. But then after this portion, when we're done heating up her whole face with the laser, we actually put on a sheet mask and we cool down her face, which helps close up those pores, which you'll see towards the end. So I've done 2 zones here. I'm going to move on to another one right here. And you can see a little bit of redness on her face, which is normal. That's the clinical endpoint we're looking for. And then if you notice like a tiny bit of singeing, those are just the little peach fuzz hairs on her face that are getting caught in the laser beam. Nothing dangerous or nothing to be worried about. Patients do have the option of like maybe shaving or removing the hair before a treatment if they want, but they don't necessarily have to if it's this thin like hers is. So we've done our 3rd zone. Now we're going to move on to our 4th. Very good. And another great thing about this facial is that it helps stimulate collagen production. With any energy-based device, so any type of laser facial, any facial that stimulates heat, or actually delivers heat, will help stimulate collagen production. So with every subsequent treatment, we're actually helping her stimulate some of that collagen in her face. So she's had quite a few of these, and over time, as you do more and more, you tend to stimulate that collagen. So now we're doing what we call a super pass, which is basically just going over this whole large area. This is a little longer portion of the treatment. It does take a little longer, but we are going over this whole right side. Are you still feeling okay?
Yes.
Good. I could already see a little bit of her skin starting to look kind of glowy, which is great. Now this treatment is safe for all skin types, which is great. The only patients we do not treat with this treatment is those who have a history of melasma. Now we don't treat those with melasma with this facial because this is essentially heating up that top layer of the skin, and melasma is something that's a little bit tricky. Too much heat, especially heat on the surface, could trigger the melasma to get worse. So if a patient usually has a history of melasma or any melasma spots on their face, we typically don't treat them with this facial. However, we have multiple other treatments here that do treat melasma itself. Just gonna look over here. As you can see, the right side of her face is starting to get even more pink. This is just her skin reacting to the laser. It's actually a reaction we're looking for, which is great. You can see she's not in any pain. I think I've fallen asleep during one of these treatments before as a patient, not holding the laser. Very good. So we're done with her right side, and I'm basically just going to repeat everything I did on the right cheek on her left cheek now. Are you still doing okay?
Yes.
Just making sure you're awake. The other great thing about this laser facial is that it can actually be done as soon as once a week. So because there's no real downtime or healing time, if you really love it, and let's say you're just like working your way up to an event and you just want that glowiness and you want to get a couple in, you can get one every week. All right, so now we're gonna do one super pass over the whole right side. Julissa, if it ever gets too warm for you, just raise your hand and I can give you a little break. You can see her cheek getting slightly red again on this side. It is starting to look a little tighter. In person, I could definitely see a little bit of that glow already, which is great. My numbers. All right, we got a little bit to go. Okay, now we're gonna move on to her forehead. So we did the right side of her face, we did the left side of her face, and now we're going to do the forehead. The forehead typically tends to be a little quicker because it is a little more sensitive. They do tend to feel hot right away, so I don't really spend too much time on the forehead, but we'll start now, okay? So again, just raise your hand whenever raise your hand if you feel a little too hot, okay? forehead is always a pretty sensitive area when it is being treated, regardless of actually which facial we're doing. It is a little more on the sensitive side, so I'm always a little more attentive to whether or not she is uncomfortable, especially on the forehead. So I see you flinched right there. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good?
Good.
Okay, you want me to move on?
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see, it took maybe less than 10 seconds for it to get too hot up here. But how, you wouldn't call that pain? How would you
No.
describe it?
I think it just got a little too warm, but it's
Okay,
not
cool.
painful.
Okay, good. Very good. All right, now I'm going to do the super pass, which means I'm just going to go over your whole forehead. Again, just raise your hand if you feel it getting too hot, okay? I absolutely love this facial. I love getting these before going to a special event. It just makes my foundation sit better. And I always have this little bit of like shininess on my face at the event. It's like, I would describe it as a primer, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like you do a makeup primer. This is like a laser primer. It's just like priming your skin. Okay, so now we're done with the laser portion of this facial, and we're going to move on to the mask and cooling portion. So I'm just going to remove your eye shield. It's going to be really bright in here, so slow with opening your eyes, okay? Take off the tape, expose your eyebrows. So now we're going to put our LaserAway Jet Setter mask on her face. This is our Hydra Serum mask. It has a lot of peptides, antioxidants, it has some cucumber extract. It's really soothing, and it's also just cooling. So we're gonna cool off the skin after we ran that laser beam over it quite a few times. And I think this part really just makes this laser facial a relaxing one too. So if you're just looking to do something and relax, this is a great option. Beautiful. So now that we have the Hydra Serum mask on, I am going to grab our chiller device and I'm going to blow some very cold air on her face, and that's going to help seal up her pores and absorb that really good Hydra Serum in her pores. Okay, how are you feeling?
Good.
Just gonna block some of the air out from getting into your nose. And in this portion of the treatment, we are really just sealing up all those pores that we opened with the heat. Absorb all that good stuff from the mask. And the cryogenic air is a great tool for just getting rid of any of that redness and puffiness. Because it's so cold, it really helps just like shrink up and tighten everything after the facial. bet this also feels good in the summer, huh? It's cooling you off in the heat. Okay. So we're almost done with the cryogen portion. After that, I'm gonna take off her hydroserum mask, clean her off a bit, and we are going to end with putting a nice layer of some sunscreen and Vaseline on her face, and she's good to go after that. All right, I'm about to turn this off. Let's take off your mask. Nice and cold. How does that feel?
Feels so nice.
Right? Let's wipe this off so everyone can see how shiny your skin is. And as you guys can see, she barely looks like she got anything done. No redness, no peeling, nothing crazy. She's just slightly pink, kind of like she was in a hot room for too long. But she can go about her day as normal. I mean, that's about it. You look nice and glowy, shiny, tight. I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of Vaseline and sunscreen on her before she goes, but for the most part, we are done. Thanks for watching an Instant Glow Laser Facial by LaserAway. I'm Holly, nurse practitioner. See you next time.
Ready to be a laser babe? 3 steps. 1, subscribe to our channel. 2, watch more amazing videos. And 3, schedule your free virtual consultation for any of our services by clicking the link below. Then we can be friends in real life.